Hi, my name is Gabriel Alfaro, and in this video we are going to analyze my microteaching lesson plan, where are involved the 4 skills that are speaking, writing, listening, and reading skills. So, knowing that, let's start. So, as you can see on the screen, we have the background information that I mentioned before. We have the course name, that in my case I selected English Conversation. Next we have the English level of our students, that is intermediate level. And next to that we have the time, that is 20 minutes. Then we have the description of or the context that we are going to work. And in my case the context is summarizing. It says that we have 20 students of a private school, that they are studying 8th grade, and they have intermediate level. Therefore, they are be able to have fluent conversations without too much problems. Then we have the most important part of the lesson plan, because this is the way, like a teacher, we have to follow during the lesson plan. We have the objectives, that it says at the end of the lesson the students should have, and the letter A says extended their vocabulary. Letter B, practice extracting specific info or information from the listening and reading text. And letter C says focused on the fluency and accuracy in speaking. Knowing that important part of our lesson plan, let's start with activities. And the first one is the writing activity, that is divided in 3 sections, that is time, activity, and resources implemented. The time used was 5 minutes for this activity. And about the activity, it's an activity where the students have the opportunity to think freely and making questions like, what if everyone in the world knew what you were thinking? Or like, what if your pet dog could talk? But maybe you're wondering, what is the purpose of this activity? And well, here's the thing. Writing freely, the students are more motivated because they are doing what they want. This writing exercise is what Julia Cameron, author of The Artist's Way, calls morning page. While the student is motivated, he's using the vocabulary, grammar, structures, the different tense of the verb, and everything about that. And then the teacher can check it and correct it if it's needed. And the resources implemented for this writing activity were paper, pen, and box. So next we have the speaking activity, followed by the reading activity. The teacher in this activity will proceed to make small groups of 4 students. Then he will write a question on the whiteboard related to the previous activity. For example, what if dinosaurs were still alive? Where this question will become a topic of discussion. The teacher will give the groups a minute to think and talk among themselves about possible events, if this will be possible. The duration of this activity is 5 minutes, and the resources implemented was whiteboard and the marker. And why I selected this activity? Well, when a student works with a partner, he feels more confident. That's why working with a partner or small groups first gives them an opportunity to develop and practice the necessary vocabulary to speak confidently in a large forum. And the purpose of this activity is to practice the condition structures, also the vocabulary and fluency. Then we have the listening activity. In this activity, the teacher will give to the students a worksheet with some questions about 2 minutes audio file named A Day at School. Then the teacher will play the audio and the students have to listen it, because after that they have to answer the given worksheet by the teacher. And the purpose of this activity is to know how much vocabulary the students know and how developed do they have the speaking skill. And the resources implemented for this listening activity is worksheet and in the audio file. Then we have the last activity, that is reading activity. The duration of this activity is 5 minutes. And in this case, it's about to practice the reading skills and the analysis applied in it. The teacher will give to the learners a worksheet with the 10 parts of a story called The Alien Story, in which a student must read each part, and then they have to put it in the right order. This activity is focused on the vocabulary, and the resources implemented for this activity is worksheet and pencil. And as a reflection of this lesson plan, we can say that, like any other lesson plan, there are always aspects to improve, and until you implement it in the students, you will realize which are these errors or factors that you as a teacher didn't take into account. Sometimes the activities were not developed as expected, or maybe the activities were not dynamic enough to spark enthusiasm and motivate students. Since without motivation, the learning process won't develop in an adequate way. And due to this, teachers incorporate different things that would help them achieve the objectives and goals set. There are some teachers that incorporate instrumental music or any other genre at low volume, while students work on a writing activity, or they are in a brainstorming, or they are in a discussion. By doing this lesson plan, I have learned that from the teacher's perspective, we must think about every detail of our class, as well as activities, and the methodology is in accordance with the level, age, and size of the class. Since as teachers, we must guide the student, and in turn we must adequately develop the learning process. A lesson plan is more than this. It is the way as a teacher communicates to his students.